all, I'm Apurva. Welcome back to WeDesified. We are in conversation with Dr. Mangilal Agarwal. In the previous video, he shared many useful insights on how to get your application selected and how to get scholarships. Today's video would be a continuation of it, so watch that video now if you haven't already. Today we will be discussing more about things like assistantships, jobs after graduation, his advice on the current COVID situation and how it will impact the fall 2020 semester and upcoming batches. So let's get started. But before that, make sure you subscribe to our channel and also hit the bell icon so that you will be notified every time we upload a new video. Welcome back, Professor. So tell us about how the assistantships are awarded. Like, are they offered along with the admission or after students come here?
Yeah, it depends from university to university and availability of funding and availability of those assistantships, So in many cases, master students, they get tuition scholarship with their admission because they have to pay international fee, which is out of state. And so sometimes if the university really want to attract certain students, they will give you admission with some kind of tuition scholarship that we talked before.
Right, yeah.
Then the research assistantship itself or the teaching assistantship itself, it all depends whether you are a master student or a PhD student and also availability of funding, right? For PhD, it is straightforward. It is a research-based position, so they have to be admitted only if there is availability of projects, mentor, advisor, and the funding. So without those, generally university won't give admission to PhD students, right? For masters, as I said, once you get your scholarship or if you're not getting scholarship, you're here, you can always approach professors with whom your research interest align, and you can seek research assistantship. I have a couple of master students, so it's not that master students it's very hard to get. It's easy. It's easy. It's a given for PhD student.
Right.
For master student, it depends on the interest. It depends on what they can do and whether the funds are available or not. For TA, again, each department require TA for their undergraduate courses. So if they can apply for those TAs, and if they have taken their course, those courses in their undergraduate education, then they can be selected to be TA for those courses. So it's 3 level basically.
Right.
Even if you are in India and you can or anywhere, and you find a professor where your research interest aligns and you are looking for RA, you can approach that professor and you can get along with your admission. There is no problem. So these are certain ways of now how to approach a professor.
That's my next question, like how to approach a professor.
Yeah, so I can say that over time I have seen, it varies. Sometimes I see students sending mass emails, like one email to 10 professors and attach their resume, and then see if one can respond. But internally, I can tell you, if I see a resume and maybe I have an opportunity, maybe I don't, but I always think of student,
Right.
So if I don't, then I can forward that resume and that email to some of my colleagues. But then my colleague comes and tell me, oh, I also got the same email.
Right, yeah.
So what happens is then you are showcasing your interest with everybody. There is no focus. It shows that you are only interested in doing research for financial support. That may be true, but you should not project it that way,
Right.
If there is a financial need, you should say there is a financial need. But if you are genuinely interested in research, keep the focus to that research.
Right.
And don't send out mass emails. That's the problem.
Do you think doing an assistantship helps you to look for a job after your graduation, or it helps in scholarships, like you said?
So research experience is always important. Nowadays most of the research are multidisciplinary, so it's always helped to get into those projects to do multidisciplinary research, and then it will help you in your job and career always. So it's not the assistantship itself, but what assistantship is making you do, right? Now, is the assistantship only way to do those things? No, you can do research without having assistantship too, to gain that experience. With COVID, of course, there are a lot of situations where people are laid off, but then I can tell you this is a temporary situation. We hope that we come out of this crisis soon. I don't see any other indications of job market being bad in terms of financial crisis that we had in 2009 or earlier. So that is not the scenario right now, but it is more a temporary situation than a permanent problem. Again, I would say in this scenario, what is good is getting your higher education.
So do you think, that's my next question, how is COVID impacting the study abroad scenario in general? So like you said, it's...
So apart from, I would say it should actually give an opportunity, because a lot of courses are going online. Of course, I am not a big fan of online education, I can tell you personally, but it is an opportunity. Or even, in fact, reach out to a professor whom you want to work with and say, I'm here, I'm coming there in spring. What can I do, in the meantime? You finish your research work. So if you are interested in research, then your one semester thesis can be done offline, So there are many ways to take advantage of the current, situation.
Yeah, that's very good advice. So finally, considering all these things, what do you think students should do, or how they should prepare before coming to US?
Any special software that you can learn in the meantime that will help. Like you don't have to be computer science to do software. Communication is important. So from our end, we want to be as communicative as possible, and I think as individual faculty, I am saying, if I get an email from a student who is struggling, or who is having who need advice or have questions, as an individual faculty, I try to reply and answer. But then you have student association, who is always is very proactive in those responses. Then again, you have the whole support of the department chair, school, even the international office.
Again, thank you so much, Professor. I'm sure this is very insightful, and this will definitely help our students. If you have any questions, then feel free to ask Professor Mangilal. We will do a follow-up with him. So thank you so much for doing this.
No, definitely, Apurva. It's my pleasure to be giving this, answering these questions. I am always available to can be reached, and I can help as much as I can to answer the questions. So feel free.
So that's all we have for today. We will come up with more videos on next steps. So please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Also let us know if you have any questions in the comment section to get answered by Dr. Mangilal Agarwal. See you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.